Okay, so get ready, because we're going to tackle something I think a lot of people are maybe a little afraid of. Solo adventures.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, we're diving deep into LPot's discusses solo adventures. And I think it's going to be really cool to see what they have to say.
Yeah, it is interesting, how being alone is like almost like a bad thing,
Right.
like
Yeah.
something to avoid. But LPot is like, no, 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 like solo adventures. They're cool.
Are they really cool, though?
Yeah.
I mean, I get, like, wanting some alone time, but, like, wouldn't it be more fun to do adventures with friends?
Well, see, that's where LPot has some really interesting thoughts.
Okay.
They highlight all those unique advantages you get when you do things solo.
Okay.
Like, you only have to answer to yourself.
Okay.
You have that freedom to do exactly what you want when you want without any compromises.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I'm always compromising.
Right.
Like, everyone's got to be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
What about getting lonely, though?
Well, a lot of people think about that, but LPot addresses that head on. They say solo adventures aren't about, like, avoiding people altogether. It's more about, like, carving out time to learn about yourself, to grow.
Okay.
They suggest that, like, when you embrace that solitude, you build this, like, stronger sense of self. You get more comfortable with who you are.
So it's not about, like, being alone, or it's about, like, a relationship with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's interesting. Does LPot give, like, examples of how this works?
Oh, yeah, for sure. One thing they really emphasize is how much confidence you get when you do things on your own.
Okay.
Like, think about it. Every time you have a solo adventure and it goes well, you're like, hey, I did that.
Okay.
Like, whether it's something small, like going to a restaurant by yourself or traveling to a new city, you're proving to yourself that you can do it.
Yeah,
And that can be so powerful.
that makes sense. I could see how that confidence would, like, spill over into other areas of your life, too.
Exactly, like a ripple effect.
But where do you even begin? Like,
Yeah.
for someone who's never done anything solo, isn't that really intimidating?
That's where LPot's like this connector almost.
Okay.
They have all these practical tips for doing solo adventures that go way beyond, like, reading a book in the park.
Yeah.
They want you to think outside the box.
Give me an example.
Like, what about exploring your own city like a tourist?
Well, like, I live here, but I've never been to that museum.
Exactly. Or maybe you try a new hobby, but by yourself.
Okay.
It's about, like, shaking things up a bit.
Okay.
And they really encourage you to share what happens, good or bad.
Oh, so you don't feel so alone.
Right.
Like, other people are doing it, too.
Exactly. It's about building that community.
So you're, like, part of something.
Right.
That's cool.
It makes it way less scary to try new things when you know there are other people out there who get it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But let's be honest, sometimes things go wrong.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Does LPot talk about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, they're all about finding the humor in those moments. They share some really funny stories about things that have gone wrong, just to show you it's okay to laugh at yourself.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me a story.
Well, one that comes to mind is this hiker who was so sure they knew the trail, but they got totally lost for hours.
Oh, no. I have a terrible sense of direction.
Yeah.
I could totally see that happening to me.
Right. But see, that's the thing with LPot. They want you to share these experiences.
Okay.
So what could be like an embarrassing story turns into something everyone can relate to and laugh about.
Oh, I like that it makes you feel less alone.
Right.
What else? What other stories?
Well, there's the one about the person who tried to make this fancy souffle,
Okay.
but it ended up a total disaster.
Oh, no.
They called it egg soup.
That's funny.
But their takeaway was so good, they said failure tastes better when no one's watching.
That's a good point. Like, you could just experiment without worrying what people think. Did any of these things happen to LPot?
Actually, yeah. LPot tells this hilarious story about being at a museum, and people thought they were a tour guide.
Oh, no.
So they just went with it and started making up stuff about the exhibits.
That's amazing. Talk about going with the flow. It sounds like LPot really believes in all of this.
Oh, yeah, totally. And they want you to try it, too.
Okay, how?
They have this challenge to try one solo adventure every week and then share what happened.
Like, what kind of adventures?
Well, they have a big list, but some that stand out to me are like going to a movie alone,
Okay.
or leaving your phone at home and just exploring your neighborhood,
Okay.
or people watching at a coffee shop,
Right.
or maybe taking a class like pottery or yoga.
Those are good ideas.
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling kind of inspired. But before I commit to anything, I want to dig a little deeper into, like, the bigger picture stuff.
Okay.
Like, what LPot has to say about being an individual and all of that. Let's talk about that in part 2.
So welcome back to our deep dive into solo adventures. I hope you had some time to think about those activities.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling more open to the idea.
Good. And remember, it's not just about doing the activity. It's also about taking time to think about it afterwards.
Okay, so like, what did I learn about myself?
Yeah, exactly.
What surprised me?
That's where the real magic happens, according to LPot. And don't keep it all to yourself. Share it.
Okay, so like, tell my friends. Write about it.
Yeah, exactly. Sharing is like a key part of all of this.
I guess it makes sense. It's like when you share those experiences, you're connecting with other people who get it.
Right. You're not alone. You're part of something bigger.
Yeah, and the more people talk about it, the more normal it seems.
Exactly. It's not so weird anymore to want to do things alone.
It's like breaking down those rules that say you always have to be with someone.
Yeah, exactly. LPot is all about challenging those norms,
Okay.
celebrating what makes you you.
So it's okay to enjoy your own company
Yes,
and to be comfortable just being alone with yourself.
exactly. LPot calls it a quiet rebellion against conformity.
I like that. It's like you're making a statement. Like, I'm going to do my own thing.
Exactly. And when you share that with others, it can inspire them to do the same.
That's cool. It's like a ripple effect. You know, I used to think that solo adventures were only for like super outgoing people.
Oh, interesting.
Like the kind of people who can talk to anyone.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But it seems like LPot's approach is for everyone.
You're right. It's not about changing who you are.
Okay.
It's about finding what works for you.
Okay.
Maybe you need a mix of social time and solo time.
Right.
It's all about balance.
Yeah. I could see how that would be healthy.
Right.
Like for everyone.
Exactly. LPot is saying it's okay to be alone.
Yeah.
It's okay to want to do things your own way.
I think that's really important these days.
Yeah.
Like we're always being told to be more social, more connected.
It's refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah, to hear someone say, hey,
Yeah.
it's okay to just be by yourself.
It's like LPot's giving us permission to prioritize our own needs.
Yeah, like to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like self-care, but for your soul.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And I guess when you're happy with yourself, it's easier to connect with other people too.
Exactly.
So it's not like one or the other.
Right.
You can have both.
And that's why it's so important that LPot's creating this community.
Yeah, so you don't feel so alone in all of this.
Exactly. You can share your experiences, learn from others.
It's like a support system for solo adventurers.
It's like a movement.
Yeah, like we're changing things up. But how does all of this work in real life?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think that's something we should explore in part 3.
So we're back talking all about solo adventures and how LPot wants to connect people who are into this.
Yeah, it's like everyone's having their own little adventures, but they're all kind of tied together.
Well, like a community. But we were talking about how this works in real life, like beyond just reading stuff online.
Wait, well, LPot has some really cool ideas about that.
Like what?
Like, what if there were meetups for solo adventurers? Or workshops to teach people how to plan a solo trip?
Okay.
Or even like a buddy system,
Ooh, I like that.
so people can support each other.
Yeah, that would make it less scary to try.
Right.
What else?
Well, imagine groups of people exploring museums together, but everyone's there solo.
Okay.
Or having dinner together, but everyone came alone.
That's cool.
Or even swapping houses so you can go on solo retreats.
I love the house swapping idea.
Right. It's like you get to travel alone, but you still have that homey feeling.
Does LPot talk about any of this actually happening?
Yeah, they mention these solo travel clubs and websites
Okay.
that connect people who want to do adventures by themselves.
Interesting.
And they're not just for booking trips. They also have forums where you can share tips and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Or even find people to travel with.
So LPot's vision is like coming true.
It is, yeah. It's becoming a real thing. I think it's really interesting how LPot brings together these two ideas that seem like opposites.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Like solo adventures are all about being independent,
Right.
but LPot is also all about building community.
So you can be alone, but not lonely.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, hey, go out there and do your own thing, but know that there are other people out there just like you.
I think that's a really important message.
Yeah, especially these days when it feels like everything's about competition.
Right.
It's nice to see someone promoting support and unity.
It's like LPot gets that we all want to be independent, but we also need connection.
Exactly. And solo adventures can give you both.
Yeah, they can help you figure out who you are and also find your people.
And the best part is anyone can do it.
Right. You don't need any special skills.
You just need to be a little bit brave and curious.
So what solo adventure are you going to try?
Yeah, what about you listening?
What's calling your name?
What's something you've always wanted to do, but maybe you were too scared to do it alone?
Just take that first step and see where it leads you.
You might be surprised what you discover about yourself and the world.
And hey, maybe you'll even inspire someone else to try a solo adventure too.
That's how we build this community, right?
That's how it all starts. Until next time, happy exploring.